For decades, the United Kingdom was seen as a stable, prosperous, and desirable place to live. It offered economic opportunity, strong institutions, cultural continuity, and a social contract that rewarded hard work. Britain attracted people from all over the world and retained its own citizens. But today, something has changed. While headlines continue to focus on immigration into the UK, a far less discussed reality is unfolding beneath the surface. British citizens are leaving in growing numbers. Not only retirees seeking warmer climates, but working families, young professionals, skilled workers, and wealthy entrepreneurs. This video explores the deeper reasons behind this trend. Why do native Britons increasingly feel pushed out of their own country? Why are high earners and investors relocating to places like Dubai? And how do economic pressure, cultural change, and unmanaged migration shape this reality? This is not a political attack. It is an examination of lived experience, policy outcomes, and long-term consequences. Chapter 1: Britain has become too expensive for its own people. The cost of living crisis in the UK is not a temporary fluctuation, it is structural. Housing costs are the clearest example. In many parts of the country, especially England, property prices have risen far beyond what average wages can support. Native residents who once expected to buy homes now face lifelong renting. Rent prices have surged year after year. In London, it is common for professionals earning above-average salaries to spend more than half their income on rent alone. Outside the capital, similar trends are emerging in cities that were once affordable. But housing is only part of the picture. Food inflation, energy bills, transport costs, and council taxes have increased dramatically. Families who once lived comfortably now carefully track every expense. Saving money has become nearly impossible. For many Britons, emigration is no longer about ambition, it is about financial survival. Chapter 2: The collapse of the British middle class. Historically, the British middle class formed the backbone of social stability. Teachers, engineers, nurses, small business owners, people who paid taxes, followed the rules, and trusted the system. Today, this group feels increasingly squeezed. Middle-income earners face high taxation while receiving fewer benefits. They are often not eligible for social support, yet lack the wealth to absorb rising costs. This creates a sense of being punished for responsibility. The result is a growing feeling that Britain no longer rewards contribution. When people work hard but fall behind anyway, loyalty to the system weakens. This erosion of the middle class is one of the strongest drivers of outward migration. Chapter 3: Public services under pressure. The NHS, once considered untouchable, is now associated with long waits, staff burnout, and declining access. People report waiting months or even years for non-emergency procedures. Mental health services are overwhelmed. Education faces similar pressure. Class sizes increase while teacher shortages worsen. Parents feel that the quality of education their children receive no longer matches the taxes they pay. Local councils struggle to maintain basic services. Roads deteriorate, public spaces decline, and community infrastructure fades. For many native Britons, the question becomes, why stay and pay more for less? Chapter 4: Why the wealthy are leaving Britain. While ordinary citizens struggle with costs, wealthy Britons face a different calculation. The UK tax environment has grown increasingly aggressive toward high earners. Income tax bans, capital gains tax, inheritance tax, and corporate regulation combine to make long-term wealth preservation difficult. Entrepreneurs often report feeling treated as sources of revenue rather than contributors to growth. At the same time, global mobility has increased. High earners can now relocate without sacrificing quality of life. Countries like the United Arab Emirates offer zero personal income tax, business-friendly environments, modern infrastructure, political stability, high personal safety. Dubai, in particular, has become a magnet for British professionals and business owners. For many, the decision is not ideological, it is practical. When success is penalized rather than protected, capital moves elsewhere. Chapter 5: capital flight and its hidden impact. When wealthy individuals leave, the consequences extend far beyond headlines. They take with them tax revenue, investment capital, job creation, philanthropy, economic confidence. This creates a dangerous cycle. As the tax base shrinks, the remaining population bears a heavier burden. This further incentivizes departure. Once this cycle accelerates, reversing it becomes extremely difficult. Chapter 6: Rapid cultural change and identity loss. Economic reasons alone do not explain the emotional dimension of emigration. Many native Britons describe a sense of cultural dislocation. Neighborhoods change rapidly. Familiar customs fade. Community cohesion weakens. While diversity itself is not inherently negative, speed without integration creates tension. People need time and structure to adapt to change. When integration policies fail, parallel societies emerge. This undermines shared norms, trust, and mutual responsibility. Some Britons feel like strangers in places where their families lived for generations. Chapter 7: Illegal migration and public frustration. A particularly sensitive issue is illegal migration. Criticism is not directed at migrants as individuals, but at government incapacity to enforce borders and process asylum efficiently. Illegal migration places pressure on housing, healthcare, and welfare systems. Local communities often absorb these pressures without consultation. When residents see rules applied inconsistently, frustration grows. Trust in institutions erodes. This perception, fair or not, contributes significantly to the feeling that Britain is losing control of its future. Chapter 8: Safety, Crime, and Social Order. Safety is fundamental to quality of life. In some urban areas, rising crime and antisocial behavior have become everyday concerns. Police resources are stretched thin. Response times increase. Parents worry about their children's safety. Elderly residents feel vulnerable. For those who can afford it, relocation feels like a rational response. Chapter 9: Political fatigue and constant crisis. Britain has endured years of political instability. Brexit, leadership changes, economic shocks, and social unrest have created a sense of perpetual uncertainty. People feel exhausted. Confidence in long-term planning disappears. When citizens stop believing in a shared future, migration becomes a personal exit strategy. Chapter 10: Emigration as a rational choice. Leaving one's country is never easy. Yet for many Britons, staying now feels riskier than leaving. Other countries offer lower costs, higher safety, better public services, clearer future prospects. This does not mean those countries are perfect, only that Britain no longer feels exceptional. Chapter 11: What happens if the trend continues? If current trends persist, the UK faces serious challenges: loss of talent, reduced innovation, shrinking tax base, increased dependency, declining global influence. Nations are built not only on territory, but on belief. Once belief fades, rebuilding it takes generations. Conclusion: the departure of native Britons and wealthy citizens is not an accident. It is a response to lived reality. This is not about blame, anger, or exclusion. It is about consequences. Britain stands at a crossroads. Addressing affordability, restoring fairness, managing migration responsibly, and rebuilding trust are essential. Without reform, the quiet exodus will continue, not with protests, but with plane tickets.